Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie Breen, and as a companion to last week's top 25 greatest game consoles of all time, today I'm doing the top 25 worst game consoles of all time. Two assumptions you can make about this list. Assumption number one. There's going to be stuff on here you've likely never heard of. Assumption number two, if it wasn't on the top 25 greatest console list, it's probably on this list. So you can deduce what systems are going to be on this list if you've already watched that other video. Number 25 is the Nintendo Switch. It isn't my most hated Nintendo console, but it's on the list of worst game consoles. Now, I have to point out, I stood in line to pre-order my Switch when it was announced. And I had it for about 3 years. And the only reason why I sold it was because I sold all of my game consoles because I just lost my job and I was waiting for unemployment to kick in and I needed to pay rent and other bills and I didn't have time to wait. Yes, the Switch is a neat console in some respects, and yes, the Switch has some good games, but I have 3 points that piss me off about the Switch. Point number one, what the fuck is it? Is it a home console? Is it a handheld? Is it a tablet? Is it a hybrid? These middle fingers are for you. That's my first beef with it because I hate handhelds, and I get the feeling that it's just a fucking handheld that you plug into your TV and pretend is a home console. I'm also not a fan of the Joy-Cons. They suck. They fucking suck. This is well documented. Not just because of the Joy-Con drift and whatnot, but they're just fucking itty-bitty little pieces of shit. The other problem I have with the Switch, and I've already done a video on this, is why I left Nintendo in the first place. Scenario. In 2006, a game gets announced. Coming soon to game consoles everywhere. Everybody gets excited. Game looks great. It's fantastic. It gets a lot of great rave reviews. It's got a lot of people are hyped for it. Everybody wants it. It's coming to PlayStation. It's coming to Xbox. It's coming to PC. It's coming to Mac. But it's not coming to Nintendo. So, Nintendo fans go from hyped for the game, I've been on Nintendo discussion forums. Ooh, I hope this game comes to the Nintendo. I hope this game comes to the Nintendo. I hope this game comes to the Nintendo. And then it doesn't. 15 years later, the game comes out on the Switch. Not an HD port, not a remaster, not a remake, just literally a straight fucking port. A straight fucking port of a 15, 20-year-old game, 25-year-old game, whatever. And then now, all of a sudden, this game Nintendo fans hated on for 15 years and dismissed and had nothing to do with and didn't even want to play, are pointing to it and saying, ooh, see, we have games, we love it, ha ha ha, this is a great game, I'm happy to play Final Fantasy VII, finally, even though I shat on it back in the N64 days because it wasn't on the 64, because I'm petty, because I'm a Nintendo fan. So by and large, what I hate the most about the Switch is maybe not all of its library, but a huge chunk of its fucking library are straight ports of old games that were already played and beaten and gone and done forgotten from Xbox, PlayStation, Dreamcast, whatever. The other thing that pisses me off about the Nintendo Switch is I had a Wii U. You remember my video last week where I talked about how much I loved the Wii U? Yeah, it really pisses me off that every fucking game that was on the Wii U got ported to the Switch. Because now, a game I already paid $60 for to get on the Wii U, Nintendo's asking me to pay $60 again to get it on the Switch. That ain't fucking happening. Number 24 is the 3DS. The 3DS is the only Nintendo handheld I have never owned. It is the only Nintendo handheld I will never own. One, the 3D gimmick. Fuck off. Hurts my eyes. I don't watch 3D movies. I don't play VR. None of that. Do you see these things? Hurts my eyes. I get car sick. I can't do 3D. But you can turn the 3D off. Yeah, but that's the whole gimmick. Otherwise, it's just a damn DS, and I already had a DS. And I remember, I had a Wii U. And I remember reading gaming articles and discussing with people and everything. I remember when the games were really announced. And it was, here's the game on the Wii U, and here's the exact fucking game on the 3DS. The exact fucking game. And I'm not going to sit here and list them all. It was just like, why would I buy a 3DS to play the game I already bought the Wii U to play? Fuck off. Number 23 is the Atari Lynx. This game console had 12 fucking games released for it, and they were all fucking 15-year-old arcade ports. I don't need that shit. A supposedly 16-bit game console playing fucking pre-8-bit games? Fuck off. Number 22 is the PS Vita. The PS Vita is garbage. There's fucking nothing on it. It's a sorta portable PS4, but like, what's the fucking point? I've already got a PS4. What's the fucking point? Number 21, I know is going to piss people off, but I don't care. I don't fucking give a shit. Fucking at me, comment, hate me, whatever. It's the Game Boy. The Game Boy fucking sucks. I never liked the fucking Game Boy. I like some of the Game Boy games. I'll play them on my Game Boy Player on my GameCube, or on my Super Nintendo through the Super Game Boy, or on my GBA with a magnifying glass and a worm light. But the Game Boy itself is a piece of fucking shit. It's too goddamn big. It eats the fucking batteries. It hurts my fucking eyes. It's a piece of fucking shit. Number 20 is the Vectrex. If you've ever heard of the Vectrex, then you know why this thing sucks. Again, we're talking eye strain. Moving on. Number 19, Virtual Boy. I don't have to tell you the Virtual Boy shit. You already know it shit. It's the only Nintendo system that Nintendo doesn't even acknowledge its existence. Number 18 is the Pippin. The only reason why I put the Pippin on this list is because I couldn't find any fucking information on the games. So, did it have games? I don't fucking know. And so, it sucks by extension. Number 17 is the Neo Geo CD. Now, I raved all day long about the Neo Geo and how awesome it was in my last video. But the Neo Geo CD, even though I like CD consoles, yes, 3DO, yes, PlayStation, Saturn, etc., Sega CD, etc., the Neo Geo CD didn't do it for me, and a couple of reasons it didn't do it for me. Reason number one, all the games that were on the Neo Geo CD were Neo Geo games that already existed. They were less expensive on the Neo Geo CD, sure, but they were all available on PlayStation. PlayStation was half the price of the Neo Geo CD, and it had tons of other games. And 80% or more of the library are fighting games. Hey, don't get me wrong, I love fighting games, but Jesus Christ, I want some fucking goddamn variety. I don't want 300 fucking fighting games on my game console. Give me something else to play, and they had nothing else to play. Metal Slug. Fuck off. Number 16 is the TurboGrafx CD. This one made the list for a couple of reasons. It's the worst. Well, not the worst of all the CD consoles. It's the worst of all the CD add-ons, technically. This made the list because it doesn't have any goddamn games, and the ones it does have are fucking rubbish. Or you can get better versions of them elsewhere. Number 15 is the Channel F. The Channel F came out just before the Atari 2600, just at the height of the, quote, Pong craze. The Channel F is a Pong system with interchangeable cartridges that are just variations of Pong, essentially. Speaking of Pong, number 14 is Pong. Jesus Christ. Yeah, footnote in gaming history aside, Pong sucks, people. It's a boring fucking game. It's a dot bouncing back and forth. That's literally all it is a fucking pixel. One pixel bouncing back and forth on the screen. We've moved beyond that. We moved beyond that 2 years after it came out. Number 13 is the Ouya. It's a home console that plays Android games. And not very good Android games. Number 12 is the Xbox One. I love my PS4 to death. But I will never own an Xbox One. It has zilch that I want to play on it. Nothing. Not one game. Not one fucking game that I would buy. If there's a game on it I would play, I'll just get it on the PS4. I have no reason to own an Xbox One. Number 11 is the Xbox. Yes, I'll buy a GameCube and get a shit ton of games for it. Yes, I'll buy a PS2 and get a shit ton of games for it. What does that leave me on the Xbox? Halo? No thank you. Fable? I'll just get it on PC. What's left? Fucking nothing. I'm a Sega fan. I'm kind of sort of a Nintendo fan, but I'm what you would classify as a lapsed Nintendo fan. I've kind of over Nintendo at this point, and I'm a huge PlayStation fan. That being said, number 10 is the Dreamcast. The Dreamcast is the only system Sega made that I legitimately hate. I have never owned a Dreamcast. I will never own a Dreamcast. I have no interest in it. The 5 games that I would play on the Dreamcast, I could either get on the 64, the PS2, or the GameCube. And that controller's goddamn atrocious. I just did a video talking about how much I hate the N64 controller. Times that by 20. That's how much I hate the goddamn Dreamcast controller. Fuck off with the Dreamcast. Fuck off. Number 9 is the Game Boy Color. Now this is one where, yes, I despise the system. I despise it because it's just another fucking Game Boy. It's a little smaller. It does have a backlit screen. It's got some color graphics. This is what the Game Boy should have been in 1989. But the technology wasn't there yet. Except Sega and Atari were able to do it. And Nintendo couldn't? Yeah, right. Atari, of all people, could do it. Nintendo couldn't? Give me a goddamn break. The other problem I have with the Game Boy Color is it has a very limited library. In most of the Game Boy Color, original Game Boy Color exclusive games, like Game Boy Color games, suck. They're not good. Yeah, there's a ton of good Game Boy games. There's a ton of good Game Boy Advance games. But I'll be damned if I can find a fucking Game Boy Color game I like. I can't fucking do it. Number 8 is the Amiga CD32. I put this on the list because, again, there's no fucking games on this thing. They're fucking knockoffs of 3DO games. Shit. Christ, give me a break. I know number 7 is going to piss people off. And look, I had number 7 as a kid. I have fond, nostalgic memories of number 7 as a kid. But I grew up, and playing the games now, they suck. And playing the games now, they're not as fun as I remember them. And there is a, it's the NES. There's a classification of game called NES Hard. They're too goddamn hard for me. Yeah, there are some legit classics on the NES, don't get me wrong. But I hate the controller, and I hate how goddamn hard the games are. I hate how goddamn expensive the fucking games are. And honestly, they're not as good as you remember. None of them are. Well, a handful, sure. You can get them on Virtual Console, or Game Boy Advance, or fucking emulators. I don't give a shit. But the NES itself, you spend, what, $200 on an NES. You spend 40, 50 bucks on Super Mario Brothers. You take it home, you pop it in, you hit the power button, and blink, 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 blink for 10 minutes. You take it out, you spit in the cartridge for 5 minutes, stick it back in. You do your little voodoo ritual, and you pray to all the gods and all the pantheons, and you light 100 candles, and you sacrifice 3 virgins, and then you hope to God the stars align and the goddamn thing will work for 5 minutes. And it never fucking does. You've been playing it for 2 hours, and you're at the last boss, and then blink, blink, blink. I hate the NES. It gives me anxiety. Number 6 is the Atari Jaguar CD. This one sucks because, again, no games. But also because the games that are on it are awful. They're literal rubbish. There's nothing good on this thing. Like, I love Primal Rage, but to spend $400 on a CD add-on to play Primal Rage ain't gonna fucking happen. I'll just go out and buy the goddamn arcade at that point. Number 5 is the Atari Jaguar, the system that put Atari out of business, essentially. Maybe not literally, but essentially. Again, no games. The system itself looks like ass. The controller is the worst fucking controller of all the controllers ever made. Even worse than the Dreamcast, as much as I hate it. Worse than the N64, as much as I hate it. My most hated game controller is the Jaguar. And there is no excuse for the Jaguar to even fucking exist. Number 4 is the Atari 7800. This is a broken NES that has shitty NES ports and a few enhanced Atari 2600 ports that also happens to play Atari 2600 games. The other thing I hate about the 7800 is the controller sucks. Again, we're back to controller sucks. Now, the 7800 especially sucks because it has 2 controllers. It has the joystick, which has the phone pad, and then the shitty rubbery joystick. Sucks. Not a good joystick. But because it was supposedly, allegedly competing with the NES, it also had a so-called NES style controller. You know, the square with a D-pad on the left, 2 buttons on the right. But it sucks. It's no good. There's nothing good about the Atari 7800. And there's not any good games on it. Number 3, the Magnavox Odyssey. I really hate the Odyssey for a couple of reasons. One, it's, Jesus Christ, it's just Pong. It's literally Pong, but they gave it a different name. So, it's a goddamn dot. And 2, it's ugly. And 3, everybody has to argue over which came first, the Odyssey or the Pong. I don't give a fuck. I just hate the Odyssey. I don't give a fuck. I don't even talk about it. Number 2, by far the worst CD-ROM game console of all. If you're keeping track, it's the only CD-ROM console I haven't talked about yet, so you can probably guess what it is. It's the Philips CDI, CD Interactive. I had a CDI. You want to talk about controllers that suck? This thing had a couple of varieties of controllers. They all sucked. It's a fucking remote control. A TV remote control that you try to play video games with. And these are Sega CD rejects. These are games that weren't even good on the Sega CD, or they're knockoffs of Sega CD games. It's rubbish. It's got that god-awful Zelda. It's got that shitty Mario. And then a bunch of games you don't give a fuck about. Number 1, worst game console of all time. My most hated game console of all time. Has zero redeeming values. I wish it didn't exist. I wish I could forget it. I wish I can go back in time and not stand in line in the fucking winter weather to buy one at launch and pay all that money for a piece of fucking shit that I had no interest in afterwards. I hate this thing. I wish people would stop fucking talking about it. I wish it would go the fuck away. I hate this thing. It's the Nintendo Wii. Fuck off. I hate the goddamn Wii. One game. Wii Sports. That could have been a GameCube game. It could have come bundled with the Waggle Wand and you played it on the GameCube and it would have been fine. They didn't need a whole goddamn system for that one fucking game. And then everything else was just Wii Sports knockoffs. Wii Darts. Wii fucking Bingo. Wii Cricket. Wii I don't give a fuck. Fuck off. I hate the Wii. Fuck the goddamn Wii. I hate it. It's a piece of shit. It literally has no business existing. It literally should have been. You know how everybody thought the Wii U tablet was a upgrade or an add-on for the Wii? That's what the Wii should have been. It should have been the motion controller should have been an accessory for the GameCube. That's it. That's what it should have been. It should have been an accessory for the GameCube. They should have made like 12 fucking games for it and then moved on. That's what they should have fucking done, but they didn't. They made the goddamn Wii U. And it's called the Wii. Fucking piss. Take a piss. The Nintendo piss. Fuck off.